Now, Peter, you're president of Westport United.
Westport United.
And how long are you president for?
For 2 years.
Is that the duration of it? Is it?
Duration.
And are you long associated with them?
With Westport United?
Yeah.
Oh, since I was a child.
Which is not today nor yesterday.
Like quite a number of years ago.
Yeah. You played with them and all that, did you?
Well, I played a lot of local league football, but I never made the grade any higher.
But you enjoyed it?
Oh, I really enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it. And who did you play with long ago?
Well, we used to have a team here in the local leagues. What was it? Sunderland, they used to call themselves.
And you were Sunderland?
I was a Sunderland player. Yeah. Aidan Redmond, God be good to him, was the captain.
Aidan?
Aidan,
yeah.
So we won a league here, a town league years ago.
And how long, do you know what year that would be? No,
that'd be back about 60 odd years ago.
60 years ago, yeah. And where did you play football that time?
Oh, at that time we played on the sports park. Yeah.
And was it in place that time?
Yeah, it was just after opening around that time.
Do you remember when it was built?
It was opened in June 1953, and I was selling programs that day.
And were you at the opening?
Oh, I was, and it spilled rain from start to finish. Torrential rain.
Things haven't changed.
No.
And who was involved in the development of that club at the time?
Well, at the time, the old original sports park committee, T.P. Brennan was really the top man in it, but they had a very good and able committee that helped them at that time. John Stanton, Jack McGreevy, and Brod Gartland. And there's so many more of them I can't.
So I suppose they're nearly all gone now. They're gone.
They're all gone.
They're all gone, yeah. And did you stick with it up through the years, or did you kind of opt out?
Always a supporter, and when I was younger, involved a lot in the committees and that, you know.
Yeah. And were you born in Westport?
I was born on Bridge Street.
On Bridge Street. And who was in the place you were born in? No.
My dad was also born on Bridge Street.
Was he?
My grandfather was there also before him.
In the same spot?
In the same house.
But your father was born in what year?
Yeah, my father would have been born in 1896.
1896.
Yeah.
Your grandfather,
my dad.
Your dad, yeah.
Yeah, 1896.
And you were born in?
1940.
1940. And where was your father born? Which house was he born? Who has it now?
He was born in, as you're going down Bridge Street, the Heenahan's house.
Heenahan's
the small house below that.
Okay. And where was your mother born then?
My mother was born at Rossbeg. Yeah.
And what was her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Sarah Slevin.
Was she relation to Tommy Slevin?
She'd have been an uncle or an aunt.
An aunt of Tommy.
An aunt of Tommy Slevin.
Of Tommy Slevin.
And an aunt of Tommy Maguire.
And where did you go to school then?
Oh, yeah, I went to school in the CBS and later on then in the vocational school.
Okay.
In Westport.
And who taught in the CBS?
The CBS, well, it was all the Christian brothers, and then we had a lay teacher, Jimmy Hughes.
Yeah.
And when we went up to vocational school, then Jim Ward was the headmaster at that time. Bill Damery, Pat Kenny, and then there were some lady teachers also on the female side of it.
And would Jimmy Hughes be the first non-brother teacher?
Yeah, he was teaching 5th class when I was in the CBS.
Okay, right. Yeah. And then what did you do after school then? What did you do after school?
Well, I started serving my time as a cabinet maker in Irish Crafts. I think it's Reedy's now on the map.
And who owned it that time?
A lot of furniture. Josie Kelly from Clona and Mickey Riley from New Forest. They were both partners in it.
And what kind of stuff were you making?
It was furniture. We used to send a lot of stuff to some of the big stores in Dublin at that time.
It was kind of quality furniture, was it?
It was quality stuff, yeah.
Solid timber and...
Oh yeah, Josie Kelly was gifted. He was the man. He was the main man, like, you know. He was gifted with these hands. God be good to him.
And then you set up your own business?
No, and I worked in for a while in Westport. I worked with John Joe Gibbons. I worked with Cox's, and then in the 60s I immigrated to England for a couple of years. And I came back then and I worked in Dublin for about another 12 months or 18 months. And then I came back to Westport and I worked again with Cox's for a while, and then I set up my own business, the joinery.
In the Newport Road?
On the Newport Road. No, on James Street first.
On James
Street.
Very
bad fire then in 1979. The premises were burned to the ground.
And had you rented it or owned it at that time?
I owned it.
You owned it?
My father had a lime business going there, and my grandfather before that.
Had a what?
A lime burning.
Burning lime,
It was
yeah.
always known as the lime yard on James Street.
And did you see it in action yourself?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Burning
when I was
the lime?
young now, there'd be lines of farmers in with carts at that time, taking the lime away for the land.
And where did they get the stone? Was it stone they got it?
Stone, yeah. Farmers just come in from Al, out that direction, with cartloads of stone, limestone.
And he burned it then?
They'd break it up into pieces about maybe 3 inches maximum and burn it then in the kiln.
And where is the site of that place? Who's in it now?
Well, my son now has a computer shop on top of where the lime kiln was.
Oh, that's in the car park?
Yeah, in the car park.
Okay, well, of course, that is James Street. You kind of think it's Bridge Street, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's what?
You kind of think it's Bridge Street,
yeah. No, there was no entrance onto Bridge Street at that time.
Oh, the remains of that lime kiln is still there, isn't it?
Oh, it would be. The underside of it.
The underside of it, yes.
That's still there.
Down at the church there, yeah.
They came out at the bottom then.
Okay. So then you went up into Newport Road yourself?
Well, then after the fire, I decided that if we were to continue on, I couldn't continue there. But we had a big problem getting trucks, because there was an archway, and the trucks, as they got bigger, we couldn't get them in under the archway. So there was an old factory, the seaweed factory down in the paddock for sale. So I borrowed some more money and I bought the seaweed factory and converted it into a joinery shop.
And who owned the seaweed factory?
It was John Hastings, the late John Hastings, and Mike Feehan from the West Hotel.
Okay.
That owned the seaweed factory.
And what did they make?
Built in the 1940s.
It was built new, was it?
It was, yeah, in the 40s.
And what were they making in there?
Well, the seaweed was processed there, and the farmers would bring it up from the shore, and then wherever to go to taken away.
Okay. So you set up your own business there then?
I set up my own business. It got run down and it got dilapidated, so I built it all up again.
And what year did you build it up?
This was around the 1980.
Around the 1980.
Fire was 1979. Around the 1980-81, we moved in there.
And you put modern machinery and all that into it?
Well, there's all second-hand machinery, but they're all very good machinery. All the old woodworking machinery that was years old, it was quality stuff.
And what did you make in there?
We made windows, doors, staircases, all that. I think I made one of your first.
You did? You did a great job out in our house. You did a great job on it.
Benches for you many years ago.
That's right. The first couch is on my own, the big couch.
The first couch, that's right, yeah.
I remember you told me no man will break that couch, you said. And you were right. You were right.
A lot of people have gone up in it since.
A lot of people have gone up, yeah. And a few gone down.
Yeah.
But, so you like Westport?
Do I like it?
Yeah.
Oh, I do. This is where my home is and always will be.
So you're a real Coffee?
Oh,
born and reared in it?
Out and out.
Out and out, yeah.
Out and out. But it's wonderful to see so many strangers coming and settling in Westport. Yeah. But I think they've contributed so much, new ideas and all new outlooks, and I think it's been great for Westport.
Yeah, it's a great town, isn't it?
Hey, Baron?
It's a great town.
Well, a lot of people just came here and settled here, and they all seem to like it, thank God.
And it's 250 years old this year, the new town.
250 years, yeah.
I wonder how old was the old town then? Before
we
go back to time.
Way back.
Way back, yeah. And go on your wheel. So you've enjoyed the night of soccer here?
Oh, it was lovely. It's lovely for the club, great for sport, and it's all great to see so many young people involved in sport now. Like there's great facilities in Westport now, from the GA, the rugby, cycling, so on and so on. And it's wonderful for children to be getting into sport.
You've seen some changes in the soccer club now? You've seen some changes in the soccer club?
Oh, yeah. And the new ground will be absolutely wonderful.
Well, they're fantastic, aren't they?
A lot of the people there last night for the international, they were really impressed. And it's only after being open a couple of years, so it'll go from strength to strength, hopefully.
Have you seen much change in the town now in your time?
Oh, there's been huge changes, I think, but all for the better.
What would you say was the biggest change, one or two big changes now in your time?
Well, the streets, the landscape on the streets, I think is wonderful with the trees and all that type of thing. It has added so much. There was a lot of opposition to the people that done it at the time, but I think it has added so much to it. It's only when you go into other towns that you don't see anything like that. You realise that what a beautiful town we have. And then, of course, the Mal River running through the town is a gem.
There's a famous photograph of you on the Mal River.
Oh, I used to do a lot of boats many years ago when I was young.
And you had a little bicycle, a pedal?
A bicycle boat back in 1956.
56? Was that a competition or was it a bit of crack?
Well, there wasn't much money at that time, but an awful lot of material for it. I got it above in the dump. And I had a very good aide to come with me, Dominic Morton.
And you made, what did you call it anyway? Was there a name on it?
I had no name on it.
No.
But we give kids rides on it. You could bring 4 children, 2 on each float, and bring them up and down on the Mal.